There's no business like show business. The whole world loves a celebrity.
Not a drama, not a sex, and no.
Latching onto their every move, action, and word.
What you say? What'd you say?
If something goes wrong, you're done.
Celebville is a paparazzi's paradise.
You think you have an alcohol problem?
And since movie stars were silent, stories have fallen off the shelves faster than gravity.
The press went, you're guilty.
Nowhere more so than when a celeb makes a catastrophic cock-up.
It went from being, is she mad, to, oh, this is really sad.
But tonight, the stars come out to celebrate their misdemeanors and their falls from grace.
She didn't say a thing. It was, like, frightening.
Coming up, E17 star Brian Harvey exclusively talks us through his fall from grace.
They made me feel like I gave the girl the pill that killed her.
And that car accident.
I got dragged under the car.
I thought that was it. I thought I was finished.
Different stroke star Todd Bridges lifts the lid on the downfall of his co-star, child actor Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman lost almost 98% of his money.
This guy's on the car!
So roll up, frock up, grab yourself a glass of something bubbly and get ready for the close-up.
I think we should just call it a day and all be celebrities.
This is what happens when celebrity goes horribly wrong. We start the show with the first and biggest celebrity mishap of 2017. It's Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey is one of the iconic artists. Soulful, beautiful. She has like 5-octave range.
In a career spanning 27 years, she's had 24 UK top 10 hits, 13 top 10 albums, and sold around 200 million albums worldwide.
Mariah, I would say, was the very first person to do all this acrobatic vocal. Being able to do 3,000 different versions of notes within one word. You know, for me as a teenager growing up, like seeing this new style of singing, it was like, wow, oh my God, no one can do that.
Mariah Carey has done so many shows, huge shows, stadiums, lights, cameras, dancers, costume changes. Everything is immaculate. She loves her frocks, her diamonds, her butterflies.
Who better to star in America's highest-rated New Year's Eve TV show live from Times Square, New York City? With around 20 million watching at home, what could possibly go wrong?
The event on New Year's Eve is the biggest event that I think they'll ever put on in Times Square.
It's huge. It's massive. People travel all over America to be here. It's a massive queue to get to the front, and you have to arrive really early. They would have turned up 5 o'clock in the morning, waiting for Mariah's really big moment. You know, her song, Emotion. Everybody knows this song. She's been singing it for ages, for years.
Happy New Year!
Okay, she hasn't started to sing, and I'm thinking maybe there's a click track in her ear, and she's supposed to mime with a vocal, and the vocal's not there.
I find that funny. Obviously, other people don't, but I think it's hilarious.
One more time. We didn't have so we'll just say, it wasn't another one.
And, like, it's just the worst thing ever. Like, it's like she doesn't even know her own song.
You gotta do your sound checks. She probably didn't do her sound check.
I've been in situations where there was a glitch in the music, then it stops, and well, I continue to sing, and I just get the audience to sing along with me. You just say, come on, guys, sing. You make something happen.
I think she clearly can't be asked to even attempt to put on any kind of show for the hundreds of millions of people watching her. You know, try and get the crowd going, Mariah. How much are you getting paid for this gig to start with? And you can't even be bothered to try to cover it a little bit. And she's been doing these songs for years.
Poor
Mariah. She should bring one of those little magic microphones you can buy for kids with her, just in case everything else breaks. It was hard to watch.
Thanks to social media, this footage was around the world before she'd even got off stage, and the public let her know just how horribly wrong her performance was.
Oh man, with social media, you can't do anything wrong anymore.
Being a successful star for any length of time may all come down to whether or not you can handle pressure.
When you become a celebrity, the biggest pressure you're under is that it might end.
There's always going to be somebody newer, bigger, fresher, better.
And of course, we now live in a world which is inundated with social media. We are all obsessed with Twitter.
I can't even remember the last time I opened my curtains without looking for paparazzi.
You've got to be careful how you look, what you say, where you go.
You can get harassed, you can get stalkers, get hassle.
They're always looking for the next angle to get better press.
But I know if I post a certain type of selfie, it's going to make press.
You need to give media something that they can put on the front page.
If you want a perfect example of celebrity going horribly wrong, you need look no further than the heartbreaking story of Playboy Playmate, actress and reality TV star Anna Nicole Smith.
Well, my friend wrote an opera about it, and there's a reason you put it in an operatic arena, is because it is so colossally tragic.
Anna Nicole Smith, such a beautiful, messed up, lost soul. Her life was a whirlwind of just messy disasters.
Anna received a lot of attention. She was beautiful, curvaceous, beautiful platinum hair. Her smile could lit up any room, any size. Made a lot of money, you know, showing her breasts. And you know what? Don't hate, congratulate. She was a chosen Playboy Playmate of the Year.
And what a rack! I mean, I'm gay, but that, whew, those mountains of joy, I could roll around in that for a little while, right? I'm about the age that she might, well, no, not that old, but anyway.
The story of Anna Nicole's celebrity starts when she was a single mother working in a strip club in 1991 and began a relationship with one of her customers, J. Howard Marshall II, a billionaire 62 years her senior. Almost 3 years later, after she divorced her first husband, they were married. She was 26, he was 89.
I mean, I don't think she'd have married him if he'd have been a dustman, would she? Let's be honest, you know? I think there was probably about 1.6 billion reasons that she married him.
People looked down upon that. They thought she was a gold digger.
People were fascinated by how he could have believed that she really loved him, how she could have believed that people would believe that she really loved him. When the cameras weren't watching them, what did they do? What did they say? What did they do in the bedroom? Could he? Would he? Would she? Ooh!
She always makes the boast that she never had to sleep with him and she didn't kiss him on the lips more than 10 times throughout the whole marriage, which sounds like a good deal to me, actually.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Allegedly, she didn't even have sex with this man, but love doesn't have to be sex. So maybe she did love him and maybe he gave her everything that was missing in her life.
So after just 13 months of marriage, J. Howard Marshall popped his clogs, and then Anna was embroiled in a really bitter court battle about where his money was going. His family versus her, and it got pretty nasty, and it was almost played out on a public stage in the American media.
The legal battle was so complex, it's still not fully resolved over 20 years later. Lawyers were battling in 3 states, as well as in front of the US Supreme Court. At one point in 2002, Anna Nicole was awarded half his fortune, which stood at $88 million. But 2 years later, that was overturned. 7 years after her husband's death and still embroiled in this long-running and emotionally draining legal battle, she was approached by the E! Network to star in her own reality show, the first of its kind.
The E! Networks came and saved Anna's life, and they offered her a show called The Anna Nicole Smith Show. People got to see what Anna was up to. I was brought on the Anna show because she needed a decorator. Anna was such a gem to work with. She was so easy. She was very happy. Her life was just like Disneyland. Everything was given to her. She didn't have to work a normal job.
The first series proved popular, and she was back where she wanted to be, in the limelight. But the trappings of fame led to yet more problems for Anna Nicole.
Then everything went to a downward spiral. You know, the people would bring food, you'd eat it. The people would bring liquor, you'd drink it. All these things started coming in such abundance.
I think with fame, you need to be very headstrong, and Anna Nicole Smith struck me as someone a little bit vulnerable. The heights of fame had a detrimental effect on her psychologically and emotionally.
Her show was cancelled after the second series due to falling ratings. But Anna would soon hit the headlines again, this time for the most tragic of reasons, just 3 days after the birth of her daughter Danielle Lynn.
Her son Daniel, who she'd always been very, very close with, went to visit her in hospital and was later found dead, allegedly over a drugs overdose.
Her son dies from drug complications in her hospital room. It's just a world of pain.
She never really got over that because her son was her life. That's what led to Anna's demise. She didn't want to get up. She didn't want to do anything.
Just 6 months after the tragic death of her 20-year-old son, Anna Nicole died in a hotel room from an accidental prescription drug overdose.
And people actually said that she died from a broken heart. And I actually believe she probably had.
It's not all musicians, actors and reality stars. Things can go horribly wrong for 72-year-old all-American heroes too, as former moonwalker Buzz Aldrin discovered in 2002.
In '69, there were the moon landings, and we all saw the pictures of Buzz Aldrin and Armstrong stepping down the steps onto the moon's surface.
Indeed, they've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the
There are a lot of conspiracy theories that allege that the moon landings never took place, that NASA staged the Apollo 11 mission in 1969 on a Hollywood backlot.
Howdy, Buzz. Remember me? What's your name? Bart Sibrel.
A guy called Bart Sibrel, who's been for years has been following astronauts around, saying to them, swear on the Bible that you didn't do this, is fake.
You want me to knock you in the head?
Well, I want you to swear to God on the Bible that you walked on the moon. Put your hand on the Bible. Swear to God you walked on the moon.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get...
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
And get the hell out of my house.
This guy will not let this go. He has produced several documentaries about the moon landings. He is adamant that this did not take place.
You're getting a lecture for walking on the moon when you didn't. Well, that's called being a thief. That's called being a thief.
And of course, he confronts Buzz Aldrin, one of the most iconic heroes of American society.
Do you think you can get to heaven without repenting?
He confronts him in the street outside his hotel.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
And he demands that he place his hand on the Bible and swear that he walked on the moon.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
I'm not trying to get you
tell him to get out of here.
This man is literally in Buzz Aldrin's face. I mean, he's prodding him, he's pointing at him, he's trying to get the Bible and shot.
You like that? Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
It's getting a bit busy, it's getting a little bit nasty.
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Doosh! Punched him right in the face.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
That person must have driven him absolutely to distraction.
If you're being called a coward and a liar and you have gone to the moon, then I think you're entitled to thump him.
And a thief.
To be famous for pioneering space travel and risking yourself to go up on a giant machine to leave Earth, if something goes wrong, you're done. You're doomed. You don't stand on the moon if you don't have nuts that big. You don't. How do they fit them in the spacesuit?
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't.
To do that and then to come back and have somebody bust your chops for that.
You're a coward and a liar.
I think they should be entitled one punch. One good punch to anyone who says that you didn't do it.
Don't mess with an astronaut, mate. They're well hard.
The life of a celebrity may seem like the stuff of dreams, but it is fragile and can easily turn into a nightmare. This is a story of how interfering management kicked off a catastrophic chain of events for a small-sized star. An iconic face from one of the biggest TV shows of the 80s.
Different Strokes was a huge show in the 80s, a sitcom.
It was about a family who'd adopted these kids.
At the time, there was a lot of racial divide in the United States, and when it came out, it was an instant hit. People were like excited to see two black kids with a white man. They were getting along and learning how to live together as a family. It just worked out to be a really great show. It was an instant hit. It went to NBC and drove NBC to #1.
Different Strokes ran on the NBC network in the USA for 8 years, from 1978 till 1986. And one of its biggest stars was 10-year-old Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman was this little guy, and he was very funny, very clever.
Gary Coleman had a catchphrase.
What you talking about, Willis?
I hear it probably, if I go outside, it'll be like, if I see 1,000 people, I'm gonna hear it 1,000 times.
Different Strokes ran for 181 episodes, reportedly earning Gary $100,000 a show. However, dwindling audience figures led to the show being cancelled in 1986. Now 18, Gary turned to his trust fund, managed by his adoptive parents and estimated to be worth around $8 million. Coleman was horrified to find only $220,000 remained.
Gary Coleman lost almost 98% of his money, I would say that. To where when the show ended, Gary Coleman got back like $200,000 only.
In 1989, Gary sued his parents and his agent for misappropriation of funds, and 4 years later, he won $1.3 million. Since Different Strokes finished, Gary hasn't had any acting roles of any note.
He had a tough time working, Gary did, after the show, because he was basically a small person, and that was only can suit certain roles. And if a role wasn't designed for him, he couldn't do it. He couldn't play those child roles, he couldn't play those adult roles, you know, so I guess he just sat around and got more and more angry, thinking about how much money they stole from him, you know?
Gary's situation went from bad to worse. His finances were in dire straits, and he filed for bankruptcy in 1999.
And somehow or other, they're meant to carry on with life, make a living, earn a living. How are you supposed to do that? You meant to go and get a job at Morrison's, or get a job at Next, or get a job as a security guard?
Which is exactly what Gary did. In 2008, a video emerged showing him working as a security guard on a film set for Pamela Anderson's TV show.
This guy's sitting let me video this. It was a bit shocking when we saw him as a security guard.
His name's not Gary, it's Wayne.
Bless him. All these kids or teens have been filming him and going, didn't you used to be famous? You know what? Are famous people not allowed to get jobs? Poor old Gary Coleman of Different Strokes, so famous. I mean, such an American icon.
Get off of the car, I have the tape, and it's illegal.
Somehow or other, you become the object of derision. You know, people write about you in the papers. People take the piss out of you to your face, and I think it must be very hard.
This guy's Ryan, he's on the car!
Gary didn't take well to this kind of attention, and it wasn't the first time he reacted badly, gaining a reputation as an angry hothead. In 2007, Gary married Shannon Price, 18 years his junior, but they had a turbulent relationship. Only a year later, this played out on a television show as they sought to reconcile their differences. But their fiery relationship continued. On May the 26th, 2010, tragedy struck. At home with Shannon, Gary fell downstairs, hitting his head badly. The circumstances surrounding his accident were subject to online speculation. Sadly, 2 days later, on May the 28th, Gary Coleman passed away at just 42. The autopsy report stated that Coleman died of natural causes after an accidental fall.
I was totally heartbroken when Gary died.
It's a tragic end for a little giant of the small screen who undoubtedly was one of the biggest, most iconic child stars of the 1980s. If you're one of the most famous people on the planet, your every move is scrutinised by the ravenous tabloid media. And over the last few years, that's definitely been the case for Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift is the biggest pop star, one of the biggest celebrities in the world.
She can write songs, she can sing, she's the real deal.
Celebrities inhabit a different world to the rest of us, and they have strange habits, like how to avoid the paps. Having to do this on a daily basis is just one of the things that can make a AAA star lose their minds.
She is stalked by the paparazzi, and she's developed the most amazing evasive walk.
She keeps her head away from the camera, so the paps can't get the money shot of her face.
So she backs out of the gym and it's very choreographed, all these big burly minders around her, and kind of walks backwards. That's the weirdest thing to watch.
You're making yourself more conspicuous walking backwards than you would be walking forward. You know, if you're trying to be inconspicuous, don't walk backwards.
Gotta say, in those heels, Tay-Tay, I am well impressed.
If she's walking backwards and doing that and it avoids the paparazzi, then fair play. Like, at least to get a photo of her arse.
Instead of her just coming out and being like, hey, here's your picture, have a good day, guys. What they end up with is almost like a weirder story.
But while Taylor turns her back on the cameras, other older celebs just want to have a bit of fun with them.
That's the world's #1 Oscar winner today.
None more so than Pap prankster-in-chief Dustin Hoffman.
Any new projects you want to talk about?
Basically getting in my car.
The bigger the star, the greater the humility. They're comfortable in their own skin. They're not trying to be something that they're not. And Dustin Hoffman, he just has a wonderful sense of humour. He knows the paps are going to follow him round. They're doing it. He plays with them.
He makes a joke out of it, which I think is the best way to handle it. Just be funny about it.
In the clip, we see Dustin Hoffman walking around the streets of Paris, and he doesn't look aggravated by the paparazzi at all. And they were following him all day. You know, he kind of accepts that's part of the gig, isn't it? And then you see him go into a shop, and he's waving at the photographers from inside. And people outside, passers-by, they know there's something going on.
Hi.
Then he comes out with this big, kind of squarish bag on his head.
Macadam Dustin. Dustin. For us. Show your face, Dustin.
And all the paps are shouting, show us your face, show us your face.
Show your face, Dustin. Wow.
Takes it off, throws it away, gives them 5 seconds, which is all they ever wanted, and gets into his car. And I thought that was quite a nice way to deal with it.
What's the point in getting angry? You know, he has a great time with them, and I just thought, what a gracious human being.
Some celebs, however, are not so gracious when it comes to the paparazzi. Take JK, Jamiroquai lead singer and 90s superstar. When Denise Van Outen's ex emerged from a London nightclub in 2006, it was virtual insanity.
In 2006, reporters and paparazzi are waiting outside a West End London nightclub for Lindsay Lohan. However, JK steps out, slightly worse for wear, assuming that they're waiting for him. He was ranting, and I mean ranting.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. And if you ever fuck with me or my mother...
The rest of the paps had stopped snapping as he was talking to them.
Oh, fuck it.
And then someone snapped at the wrong time.
Oh, fuck it. Are you who are?
Then he attacked the paparazzi guy. And then that was it. All hell broke loose.
But he just went absolutely bonkers. It was just like bang, 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 bang.
I think they love it when they get lamped, photographers. I think they adore it because they get the money shot. And he gets in the car and gets driven away. I think someone shouts wanker. It might not have been a photographer, just a passerby who just didn't like Jamiroquai's 4th album. And then he just comes out all guns blazing, but properly gladiatorial. That's beautiful when he's just so enraged.
Then the police came along.
I'll screw Can I have my phone back, please? Well, my phone is on the floor, mate. You better get on with it.
And then he started giving the police abuse.
You stupid monkey. You know what? Now, my granddad was a fucking detective sergeant. Oh, shit. Mind your language.
It was a sad state of affairs.
JK didn't get a criminal record, but knowing him, if he had done, it would have been brilliant. Some angry celebs don't just let fly at the paparazzi, though. Take Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland rose to fame back in the 80s in films like Lost Boys, and, you know, he was the lead character playing Jack Bauer in 24. Everybody in the world loved him.
But in 2014, after he was photographed drunk in London, the tabloids were desperate for a scoop. And these questions kept coming as he discovered the moment he landed in LA. So it's safe to say he probably wasn't in the best mood to greet his fans.
You can see him biting his tongue, but there's also fans there trying to get autographs from him. One of his fans dares to touch him with a piece of paper. He makes it very well known to this young gentleman, you cannot touch my personal space.
Why are you so aggressive, man? Because he hit me with his posters.
You think by now, you know, he'd be used to all this attention and people following him around. I mean, the chap that put the programme there, he was only trying to get an autograph.
He crosses that line, though, because you don't touch the fans. The fans are the ones that made you.
Hey, no, what are you doing? Yo, what are you doing? Stop it.
Try telling that to this guy.
Guys, never mind. I'm done. I'm not doing the show. I'm not doing the show.
Back in 2009, teenage girls swooned in their millions and became Beliebers, helping him to 4 UK #1 singles and to shift over 100 million albums worldwide. But this is no sweet and innocent lad. This is Justin Bieber, the king of brat pop.
Justin Bieber, childhood star, discovered on busking and then sort of a lot of YouTube videos, taken under the wing of Usher Raymond.
Yo, Usher.
JB, what's up, man?
Justin Bieber was a child when he found fame and went to being the biggest pop star of the last 30 years.
Being this kind of star to very young kids who had to be so clean-cut.
He can't do anything. His life, like, he doesn't know any different. Because he's went through the teen years of that. So he doesn't know any different.
He lost out on a lot of normal years. Missed going out with his friends on a Friday night and maybe drinking too much without having the world pull him apart for it.
When you go through a time in your life, adolescence and beyond adolescence, you don't want to be clean-cut. You want to have sex. You want to drink. You want to do your own thing. He starts pushing back against it all.
Puberty and testosterone sort of kicked in. And one of the things I think he thinks is that he could take on absolutely anyone in a fight.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Photographer guy says something, and Justin gets like, what do you say? What do you say? Yo, and this and that. And he sort of come back, and it's that classic, you know, like, hold me back. But you know that if his security guard weren't there, he'd sit in that van and he'd just go.
After he'd done his first bit of bad behaviour, that means the paparazzi were everywhere. They were outside the recording studio, they were outside his home. He was absolutely a wanted man. He couldn't really escape.
The paparazzi and the media know what they're going to get from him. They know how to wind him up. The general public know how to wind him up. They know what they want, and he's good for it.
Goddamn way, man, damn.
And I think, well, yeah, here we go. Popcorn, pull up a seat. Here's another young star who just throws it all away.
Wow. Do I not have any right to it as a human being?
I think it is hard, on a serious note, to be followed everywhere. And some days, you know, you're a human being and you're a multifaceted, complicated person.
About it, that's all.
I don't have to be nicer about it. You guys are in my face, like.
Sorry, we're sorry.
Some days you feel like, yeah, I really want to press attention, and some days I don't. But you can't switch it off, you know. Once you dance with the devil, you gotta pay the price.
There may be times when he just doesn't want to get bothered.
Just give me some space. Like, do you have to be right in front of me?
For sure.
The pressure of fame began to show, and in 2014, Justin Bieber hit the headlines for all the wrong reasons. This was just one of a catalogue of scrapes that bratty Bieber has found himself in during his 8 years under the spotlight. 2015 saw Bieber concentrate on his music.
All of a sudden, he's come up with this banger of an album.
What do you mean? The last album wasn't bad. It was pretty good.
#1 records that are then replaced by other #1 records by him. He knocks himself off the top of the charts.
It seems he's won back the hearts of his believers. Or has he? In Barcelona, November 2016, it all went horribly wrong once more. Bieber continues not just to bite the hand that feeds him, but smash it in the face. There's one fan who won't be buying his next album. After a few years on that red carpet, how do you know when it's time to hang up those heels?
A celebrity is no longer a celebrity, sadly, when they're not making headlines anymore.
Or, of course, something in their personal life is exposed that humiliates them and makes us never want to go near them again.
A celebrity becomes a has-been when they walk into a restaurant in Beverly Hills and they can't get the table they want. And then they have to say, "Don't you know who I am?"
I suppose you really are a has-been when you end up in one of those "Where are they now" columns. Or when people say, "Oh my God, it's you. I thought you were dead."
You have to be prepared to know that it's not going to last forever.
All of a sudden, what do you do with your life? Tap people on the shoulder, "Hey, notice me again."
Until, bosh, you might be back out there.
11 top 10 hits, including a #1 single. 4 top 10 albums, one of which also hit the top spot, and a prestigious Ivor Novello Award. In the 90s, E17 ruled the airwaves.
I couldn't really believe that something like this could happen to me. But at the same time, I thought, how can this ever go wrong? I've come from nothing anyway, so anything that happens along this ride is a touch. But how wrong I was. I was wrong.
It's 1992. Britain is going crazy for boy bands, and Pop, Take That, have broken through to become the biggest pop band in the UK.
Take That, you let them take care of your grandma's funeral arrangements.
The record companies decided to put out and release and manage an alternative, a bit of a dirtier, scruffier, edgier boy band, and that's where we first met Brian Harvey.
With E17, you think, nah, they're not coming anywhere near anything of mine. I'm frightened. They're probably cock and balls my car. They felt dangerous, which is exactly what, for me, a pop group should be like.
We was just being ourselves, but they saw it as a big marketing tool.
In the early 90s, E17 were absolutely massive, and they had loads of hits.
Brian Harvey was my teen idol. I absolutely loved him.
When we first got famous in E17, everyone wants you to write on their face, sign their tits, sign their arms, sign my baby, sign my fucking record, sign a picture of me nan. It was unbelievable.
If you listen to Brian Harvey's voice, it's fantastic. I can't believe that he never grew up singing. He's a great singer.
Don't you know we've come too far now?
He was a saviour of Christmas.
I think they had the biggest Christmas single for a lot of years with Stay Another Day.
Baby, if you got to go away, don't think I could take the pain.
Stay Another Day was at #1 for weeks, beating Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
At the height of E17, we was going around the world. Everyone knew who you are. You wasn't rich, but you had money.
E17 were actually bigger than Take That, not in this country, but in Europe.
Places like Moscow, Red Square, and done a concert in front of a million people. Never felt so small in my life.
Massive band, arena band, tour after tour, platinum album after album, millions and millions of records worldwide.
It was just madness, and I used to look at myself in the mirror when I was having a piss and go, you're in E17.
Things went a bit wrong for E17 midpoint during their career in the 90s when Brian Harvey gave an interview to a radio journalist.
And he goes, oh, yeah, Tony Mortimer. So he gave an interview the other day to The Guardian and that, where he was quite open and candidly talking about certain drugs and stuff. And he said, you know, have you ever done it? And I said, I'm thinking back now, he was talking openly, I've talked openly as well. Obviously, they only want the quote now. I haven't got a journalist that's on my side and seeing what I'm saying. He's just got the quote that he needs to go and ruin me. By 5:30 the next morning, I was all over the news.
Brian's remarks had come 2 years after the tragic death of teenager Leah Betts, who died of ecstasy poisoning in 1995.
They made me feel like I gave the girl the pill that killed her. And it was terrible. It was terrible. I was dropped very, very quickly, like literally the next day.
If that was Noel Gallagher or Liam Gallagher talking about it from Oasis, it would have been no big deal.
I'm not telling everyone to go out there and take it. If I'd have known about the Leah Betts story, I would never have said nothing.
Going from having it all taken away from you, I think, would probably be a struggle for anyone.
To be dropped from a huge height in front of the public was too much for anyone to handle.
It leaves you frustrated, it leaves you with mental problems, and at the end of it, you just feel like I've just been ragged out here completely.
But in the years that followed, Brian struggled to recapture the heights of E17.
I've done a couple of little bits and pieces, and then, yeah, the car accident.
The story that became famous about Brian in 2005 was he turns up at his friend's house, he's finding a parking space.
That's that, right? So, pulled up here. This is the view that I got that night. I've pulled up it, and then I've stopped and I've got that watery mouth syndrome and that, and I thought, so I opened the door and I've been sick. The car is in automatic, I've been sick, I'm come back in, I'm all like that, the car's going backwards because my foot is still on the thing.
He's got his foot out the door, and for some reason, his other foot slips on the pedal.
And where the car's going backwards, I've gone, I'm like that, right? So, fuck knows how I've ended up under there.
His foot gets caught under the wheel and he runs himself over.
And then I got dragged for the remainder down here, under the car, came out and must have went bang out here. It was just frightening. I thought that was it. I thought that was it. I thought I was finished. My mate's come up the road. He's pulled me out from under the car, and when he's pulled me out, all of this bit was just, he said, you was just like a snake.
The press took a lighter view, reporting that Brian had been sick, having eaten too many jacket potatoes.
When I saw the story about the jacket potato, I just thought, oh, fucking, there you go. You know, take it out of context. Don't concentrate on the bit that matters. Let's make light-hearted and make a joke out of it. Everyone laughs at it, but if you actually have a look at the X-ray, you see the damage that was done. I mean, that pelvis was broke in 7 or 8 places. You can see it. It's supposed to be like that. It's turned round. It wasn't until a few years later that I decided to sort of... I mean, everyone was talking about it anyway, so I thought, well, we might as well make a joke out of it.
When you see man under his German whip, doors wide open, rolling back, man's been sick in his German whip, jacket, potatoes, cheese and that.
Brian's not had an awful lot to smile about since. He's battled with depression and is living on benefits, leaving him with strong feelings towards the music industry.
I've left the industry now. I've left it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with it. I really don't.
And in 2015, he voiced this anger online.
My name's Brian Harvey. A few years ago, I had a #1 record, yeah? Sold 1 million copies in this country. Over the past 15 years, I've been treated like a complete I've got no fucking heating. I'm getting abused by the police. I'm getting abused by the court system. I'm getting abused by the CPS. And I've fucking had enough of all of you. Come this way.
It's like he was calling a big press conference. 2 blokes and another woman with a camera, and he leads them down the road and then up a little alley where there's a couple of bins.
But I just wanted Watkins, the manager, to know what I feel about everything. E17, 1 million sales. This is what it fucking means. That's what I think of your fucking music industry.
And he does it in the alley and smashes it, angry with the industry that have let him down. And
Smashing up his multi-platinum disc for the E17 #1 single, Stay Another Day. Now that is some serious beef.
That's what I think of your fucking music industry.
it's never going to endear you.
See? I'm a peaceful person, and I pick my rubbish up.
And then they bent down and tidied up and put all the glass in the wheelie bins really nicely.
Yeah, I can be angry and fucking tidy.
I kind of love him a bit for that, because he's, you know, he's angry, but he's very conscientious.
As good as things may have been at their height, at the end of it, you fucked everything. I've got no good memories now. I've got no good memories from it. None. All I know is I worked my bollocks off for that group and all of them people to end up with nothing, be on benefits. Tony don't bother talking to me, and, you know, and the other two are out there running around with someone else calling them E17, and not one of them people have knocked on my door and said, "Are you all right?" So, fuck the lot of you.
It's really all right.